Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to all of you listening wherever you are listening on our audio streams, edmontonsportstalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, another one that I don't know of. For those watching on YouTube, as well as for everyone listening to one podcast, wherever you download your podcast, hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. Also subscribe to all of our podcasts across your podcast platforms that you use. All the shows are for their own page. We would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to any of those. Matt in for Dusty yet again, as he's probably in the air at this moment, flying from Montreal to Vancouver, as he was calling the Alouettes-Argos Thursday nighter yesterday, which we'll talk to with Huss momentarily here. We'll get his take on that and look ahead to the rest of the CFL weekend. I do want to build a player prop parlay on the Lock Shop today, and I need to get his help on one of those for sure. But yeah, so Dusty's flying out because he's also going to call the BC Line Saskatchewan Roughriders tomorrow. The Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta. Use EST Sports when you deposit 20 or more and get a $50 free bet, or use YEG50 when you deposit 5 or more for a $50 free bet. Download the app, visit them, playalberta.ca. EST specials up right now. If you just go to Play Alberta or open up the app, you'll just see EST specials. You just click that. My computer's messing with me right now. What's wrong with our internet? There we go. The bets right now we've got up on EST. Lock Shop partner parlays, the Bombers 3+ to win by 3+, the Riders money line, and the Ticats to win by 2+. That's boosted to plus 625. The early bird bet from this morning on the morning show, I had the Bomber Stamps second half to be the highest scoring half. That is boosted to plus 111. We will, as I said, build a Lock Shop parlay today. I want to do that on CFL props. Jay's play of the day will be posted up there later. The grandest parlay is going to be posted up there a little bit later. And it is Friday, which means I'm assuming those in the Discord and the DGen den, they're working on their silliest parlay, which is where they try to go big. They want to go big, so we'll see what those boys and gals have cooking up later today. But I don't know if we'll have that in time for the Lock Shop. But just keep it locked to Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Click on those EST specials, and you will see them posted up there. Right now at the Open Championship at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland, Matt Fitzpatrick sits alone, the leader atop the leaderboard, 9 under. He's through 12 holes today. A couple guys at -8. Scotty Scheffler through 9. He's 2 shots back of Matt Fitzpatrick. He is -7, 4th overall. A bunch of big names: Robert McIntyre, Terrell Hatton, Harris English, Tony Finau, Keegan Bradley, Roy McIlroy, Ludwig Aberg, Justin Rose, Lee Westwood Stiller, Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele, John Rahm. All of those guys are better than even par for their tournament so far. The cut is projected right now at +2. Corey Connors, the only Canadian looking to make the cut at this moment through 8 holes. He's 2 over on his tournament, 1 under today, so he's above the cut line. Nick Taylor, he's done. He's +3, so he'll need that cut line to move. Same with Taylor Pendrith if they want to see the weekend. And then Mackenzie Hughes, through 14, he's even on his second round. He's +8 overall, so he's going to need some magic if he's going to want to see Saturday and Sunday. But for the Canadians, Corey Connors is the guy to look at right now to see if there's any hope for a Canadian winning the Open Championship. We'll get Huss's thoughts on those a little bit later as well. Maverick, what happened to the field goal props last week? PA not do them. Yeah, Play Alberta, when I asked when we were trying to build that Elks parlay and stuff, they weren't able to do field goals. We could do passing, rushing, receiving at the moment with certain players, but they didn't have the field goal prop, so unfortunately weren't able to get that one in. I know Dusty has been talking with Play Alberta and they are going to be adding player props for anyone to just go bet on. So hopefully that gets done, if not this year, for next season. But we can do things in our parlays. But it is touchdowns, receiving, rushing, passing yards. That's kind of all we're able to do at this moment. I'm going to need Huss's help. There's a couple Bombers I am looking at for a possible player props. I'm looking at a few other things. I'll get Huss's thoughts on them a little bit later as well throughout this show, as he's going to be joining us momentarily. Week 7 of the CFL did kick off yesterday. The Owls with a come-from-behind win. The Argos covering. A big cover by the Toronto Argonauts, but straight up money line. The Montreal Alouettes take that one. We've got the Bombers right now. This line moved earlier this morning. It's moved again to me. It's -4.5 on Play Alberta for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The BC line still at -3, and the Hamilton Tigers still at -1.5. Lions hosting the Riders tomorrow, and the Ticats in Ottawa on Sunday. Let's bring him in. It is Huss of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Big game coming up down in the Peg, Princess Auto Field. We'll get into that momentarily here. We'll also get into Open Championship, Huss. But what did you make of that opener for this week between the Owls and the Argos?
Much like your T-shirt today, Matt, that game last night was radically Canadian. Great look today, by the way.
Thank you.
Wow, what a comeback. Like, I'm still trying to determine whether I'm giving more credit to Montreal for stepping up and coming up huge in the fourth quarter, or Toronto just wilting under the pressure of the final 15 minutes. It was, I mean, we do see these games all the time, and I was trying to find, I don't know if you or any of the lock shoppers know, what the live number was on Montreal to win. Like, it was 18-7. Then they give up another touchdown. They're down 18, like midway through the second half. I didn't get a chance to look, but I would be very interested as to how high the money line for Montreal got. But Davis Alexander stepped up. I mean, we've seen him do this before. The guy just knows how to win football games, and man, did he come up big. But it was costly because, of course, on that final touchdown, tweaked that hammy again, and I have a feeling like we might be seeing some more MBT the next little bit. But listen, big win for Montreal. Great for them. This is a big shot for the Toronto Argonauts. And man, is that good news for other teams in the West that are thinking about a potential crossover. I know it's still very early in the season and there's lots of time to go, but you know, having Toronto and Ottawa sitting there with one win does create some opportunities for teams in the West. And I mean, listen, we could see if Winnipeg and BC win this weekend, if the home teams win, we're going to have 4 teams with 4 wins in the West. And then obviously that 4th place team will have a big cushion right now over both of the 1-win teams in the East. So this is a big weekend in the Canadian Football League. And that game last night, obviously massive for Montreal, but pretty devastating for Toronto, who needs to get some results here while they wait the return of Chad Kelly.
Yeah, and like it's right now, you're putting yourself behind a hole so much that is Chad Kelly going to really change things with this team? They've also have some heartbreakers, the Argos. Like this loss yesterday to the Owls where you blow that lead, you have the walk-off return. You know, you force a tie. You tie the game late, and then you give up the big touchdown to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Just a couple crushing losses for the Toronto Argonauts this season. I'm just trying to remember if there's any other destroyed against Toronto or against Ottawa, lost to Calgary, lost to Montreal. Yeah, no, in early part of the season, 2 crushing losses morally, mentally for the Toronto Argonauts. And you were talking about it yesterday, how like if they needed that win. Like they needed to go out, and especially when you have that nice lead. You had that cushion, you're feeling good. And I'll even go like Speaker is going into the end zone. You force the fumble. You knock the ball out. You get the ball. And, even they brought it up. I think it was Suits brought it up on the broadcast. You didn't knock it out of bounds, which would have given Montreal the ball at the 1. You made sure you got possession of it in the end zone. And then you don't just not advance the ball. You're Nick Arbuckle and you fumble the ball and you give Montreal the possession right there. Right in scoring position. Like, that's where it's like, imagine if they just would have had to punt that football. Force Montreal to drive down that field, but Toronto just gave that game away. And even the last pick by Arbuckle, they were at midfield. They were moving. And it's just like Nick Arbuckle just made those poor decisions. But, I want to give credit to the Montreal Alouettes and Davis Alexander and what they did, but I do have to give some some shade towards the Montreal or the Toronto Argonauts and go like, you just blew that. I get it.
CFL, I mean, the one thing you can be like, that looked like that was a real dud game to start it off. Yeah. And then lo and behold, if you stayed with it long enough, we had a hell of a finish. So
the CFL games are never over. They're never over. Except last week when Edmonton was hosting BC. That one was over.
Yeah, you do get the odd one like that. What do you, let me ask you, because you have no skin in the game tonight. Where are you at on this Bomber Calgary game?
I hate that you asked me.
Going towards the Bombers. I think this is just people going, oh, well, they always win at home. They're coming off the bye. Obviously, they'll win. I mean, no Dalton Schoen, no Stanley Bryant. This is not an automatic win for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I was putting something together for a thing tonight, and I think I'm just not even going to touch the spread on this game. Like, I'll give the Bombers the benefit of the doubt, maybe put them in on a money line, but I'm thinking the under for this game and kind of looking at some rushing props because I think Brady Oliveira, even without Stanley Bryant, is going to be very, very key to Winnipeg. But, I mean, we've all seen what Calgary's done this last little bit. Can they keep it going in your mind, Matt? Or is this a point there where we're going to see the Bombers remind everybody who they are and where this game is being played?
This one I'm torn. Like, I don't want to be the guy sitting on the fence, but like, I do look at the Bombers record at home. Like, we saw what they did to Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions at home even this season. It's 45, 46 games, whatever it was, their last 45, 46 at Princess Auto, 6 losses. Like, it's not easy to go into Princess Auto Field and get a victory. And, another sold-out crowd, that doesn't help the Calgary Stampeders. Now, for the Stamps perspective, you did go into Saskatchewan last weekend and with weird circumstances found a way to get that victory against the Riders in which they look good, start to finish.
Clearly the better team in every aspect of the game last week. And against Winnipeg for that matter.
Yep. It's just one, like, I'm torn between Winnipeg at home and what I've seen from the Calgary Stampeders because the Calgary Stampeders right now look like the best team in the CFL. Like with what we've seen this season. If they get this victory tonight, they just ultimately stake their claim and they'll feel very proud of like pumping out their chest and go, no, we are the best. I want to bet, like it's the Calgary defense. That's the thing I'm looking at. No Stanley Bryant helps him get to Zach Collaros a little bit better. I'm not as worried about the Dalton Schoen injury. Because I think the Bombers have enough receiving threats with Dembski, with Wheatfall. You've solid running game, and it's a 1-2 punch running game with Oliveira, and you still got Matthew Peterson who can provide some solid yardage for the Bombers. I feel like I'm going to be kicking myself tomorrow, picking the Bombers in this one. Like in a parlay I threw up yesterday, I brought the Bombers down to 2.5 a field goal. I'm still comfortable with that. I'm still comfortable saying the Bombers by 3. But I also just like part of me is sitting there going, once tomorrow rolls around, once tonight ends, I'm gonna be like, how did I not pick Calgary? How did I not jump on the money line with Calgary with their plus 161 based on what we've seen this season? Like, this might be the last time if they go out and win today. This might be the last time for a while that the Calgary Stampeders are going to be underdogs going to a football game with the way that they're playing.
If they win, absolutely. I mean, listen, if you can go in and win in Sask against an undefeated team and in Winnipeg against the Bombers where they basically never lose and off a bye, that will entrench the Calgary Stampeders as the number 1 team on anybody's power poll right now. So it's going to be, it should be a great one. I can tell you that the weather, very, very nice.
Good.
We are expecting, what do we got for, it's 22 right now. Said the high today is 25. So a perfect night. It's going to be clearing this evening. We don't even have much smoke around here right now. I think we're going to get that tomorrow. So we're in a good spot for what should be an awesome game on TSN. And of course, Milt and the panel are going to be here, and we're all looking forward to welcoming Milt Stiegel back to his second home in Winnipeg after his family tragedy.
Yeah, so great seeing him back on the broadcast yesterday. For you and Winnipeg fans out there, like, what do you see from this Winnipeg defense and how to stop the Calgary Stampeders offense? Because they got lit up a couple weeks ago.
to me, that is the unit that needs to step up the most. I mean, the offense is going to have to take care of the football, but I do think this is going to be more a game that if they win, it is on the backs of the defense to, do what they've done to Vernon Adams many times in Winnipeg before, but it looked very different in Calgary a couple weeks ago. So, I think Vaughters and Willie Jefferson are going to need to do a good job of getting into the backfield. I mean, you'd like to stop that running game right from the get-go and force Vernon Adams to beat you. And then the secondary is going to need to play at a much higher level than they did 2 weeks ago before. So, I mean, I think when you look at, who's out for this game, I mean, the offense has taken some hits. And they didn't look that good when they had all those guys in against Calgary a couple of weeks ago. So obviously they need to be better. But when you think about maintaining home field advantage, that's the defensive side of the football is where the crowd's going to come in to play the most. So, I mean, to me, and this is sort of why I do lean to the under. I think the Bombers will be competitive in this game, but I'm not expecting a big-time offensive shootout. I think we're going to see two really good defenses go at it, and I think first downs and points going to be a little bit more hard to come by than we normally see in a regular Canadian Football League game.
Two of the best defenses in the CFL going at it. The only two teams to allow less than 100 points so far this season. It is the Stamps and is the Bombers. One thing I'm looking at doing, and I'm going to need your thoughts on this. I'm looking to build for the Lock Shop parlay today, just the CFL player props for the weekend. And I'm in this game, I'm looking for an anytime touchdown scorer. And I'm wondering your thoughts on where to go. Because the two I'm looking at is Wheatfall or Dembski. Your thoughts on either of those guys scoring a touchdown tonight?
I
like Wheatfall had a bad game 2 weeks ago, or like he wasn't targeted much a couple weeks ago.
I do wonder about Wheatfall this week. Not that they're not going to need him, but there is a part of me with the way Calgary's played so far this year and the fact that they don't have to worry about Dalton Schoen, who probably was the number one guy on their we must stop list against the Bombers. And with the start that Wheatfall's had, I think he might garner maybe a little bit more attention than he would if Schoen was in. So I lean Dembski on this one. Dembski is a guy that finds many different ways to get open. And we've already seen this year him with a knack for getting into the end zone. And Zach's hit him on deep balls, but they've also hit him on, some kind of unique routes in the red zone. So I just think there's more ways for that Dembski one to cash. And listen, Dembski's going to be a guy that really is going to have to step up because I think he sees more balls this week with Schoen out as well. Schoen's kind of that safety blanket in a lot of ways for Zach Caleros. With him out, I think Nick Dembski becomes that guy. So between the two, I'll ride with Dembski. It's
funny how Dembski's sort of got a little bit of I don't want to go fully hot and cold, but week 1, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 2, 1 catch for a yard. There were game 3, Edmonton, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Last week 2 weeks ago against Calgary, put up 74 yards. Didn't get a touchdown though. But so it just seems like you could have those games where he's there and he's big. Or sometimes maybe it's Zach Caleros fighting other guys, or it's a Brady Oliveira type game where he's just absolutely dominating. So yeah, because here's what I was looking at. I was wanting to do something from each game this weekend. So I'm going to I'll go the Nick Dembski touchdown. The BC Lions, brought this up on the show yesterday. They have the worst rush defense. And AJ Ouellette this season, week 1, got hurt, had 3 carries, 21 yards, goes 96 yards and a touchdown, 91 yards and a touchdown, 139 yards and 1 touchdown against BC just a few weeks ago. Last week against Calgary, he had 6 carries, only 9 yards. So it wasn't a solid performance by him. But I'm looking at AJ Ouellette, 80-plus rushing yards. And then I had Bo Levi Mitchell, 2+ passing touchdowns. I think that could come around like a plus 800 or something like that.
That's nice. I love the Bo. I mean, I think the Bo, I'll be hitting that on a single wager on Sunday, I'm sure. Listen, Saskatchewan is going to be, listen, they go into this. I think they had no running game last week against Calgary.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. So I would imagine that Corey Mace and his staff look at this challenge of playing on the road. The best way to keep the football out of Nathan Rourke's hands is to have the ball yourself. And I do think that they really try and establish the run early. And the thing with Ouellette, he could also break a big one or two. So, like, let's think if he's going to get 15 to 16 carries in this game, you know, can he average 5 yards a carry? I think he can against BC. I know they looked really good last week against the Elks, and the Elks basically didn't run the football at all against them, but that's also part of being down the way they were and needing to come back. So I do think that it'll be a focus for the Rough Riders when they get going, and obviously AJ Ouellette is the guy in that backfield.
Yeah, he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry this season. Taken away last week, he had 6-yard carry versus BC week 4. Week 3 had a 5.4 yard average. Week 2 a 7.4 yard average. Week 1 7-yard average. So yeah, I was just looking at the game from last week. The Rough Riders rushing yards was 16 total. Like, they had more first downs of 22 than they had total rushing yards at 16. So they really did struggle against the Calgary Stampeders. And well, is that a concern for the Bombers tonight? The run defense of the Stamps, or do you think Brady Oliveira is just he's a better back? And like AJ Ouellette's a really good back. I don't want to take anything away, but is that a concern for the Bombers offense that, you know, they might not be able to establish the run?
Well, I mean, it might end up being one. I think they'll go in confident that even without Stanley Bryant, they think that on home field they'll be able to give the ball to Brady and he'll be able to generate yards. But I mean, sometimes the best laid out plans don't necessarily materialize the way that you wrote them out. So, I mean, they're going to need to be better. Brady himself is going to have to step up and have a big game. I mean, he's great at breaking tackles and earning an extra 1 or 2 or 3 yards, and all of those are going to count. But yeah, I mean, I think that you can certainly make the argument that, you know, normally you can go into a Bomber home game against just about everyone and know that you're going to see a few things. And one of those things is a lot of Brady Oliveira, an effective game on the ground. And, you know, the combination of the opponent and the injury to Bryant on the offensive line, I think that would be a greater challenge, but it's not a challenge that is unsurmountable for Winnipeg. So regardless of who's in there, they will be attempting to run the football. And certainly for my bets and for Winnipeg fans that are in the building, we hope that will be the case. I like Brady to go over 70 tonight. I mean, I do think he's going to be a real focus of this football game. I think I saw the total, like if you're going over under, I believe was it the 73.5 or in thereabouts. And if he can get over that number, the Bombers have a very good chance of winning. So I think that's something that they really do look at early on and try and establish.
From an Elks perspective, I hope the Bombers in a Lions loss, it keeps things a little bit better for them, and so does an Ottawa loss. From a pure entertainment and chaos perspective, BC and Winnipeg winning, as you pointed out, 4 teams tied at 8 in the West. It'll just be a fun race moving forward. It'll just be so much fun walking, seeing the rest that way. Or even, you want to know something? Even if BC loses, Saskatchewan at 10, Calgary at 8, Winnipeg at 8 points, like a 3-way race between the teams, those prairie teams, I'll take that even. You know, like it's great to see that, you know, there's a lot of just solid football teams in the Canadian Football League. We saw it last year. We saw just more teams rise up. And if, you know, and with that injury to Davis Alexander, he said on the broadcast yesterday, he's going to be out for a little bit, and MBT going in there, you know, it does keep things. I think if Davis Alexander's there, we're talking about a Montreal division easily. But with Davis Alexander missing some games, who knows what happens with the Owls in that time? They don't look the greatest with MBT. It creates a nice race maybe down the stretch between Montreal and Hamilton. So we have a lot of football to be played. It is only week 7. There's 21 weeks in the CFL season. But the way it's shaping up, we should have such a fun final bit of the summer and fall. I think I saw someone in the Nasty Chat, Maverick. I think this might have been reference to Al's live bet yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
He said something about 6-1.
Wow.
Because he added always live bet the CFL. So there might have been 6-1. on the Alouettes at one point to win that football game.
Down in, I think, was all of their scoring in the fourth quarter? Or I think they got a touchdown on the last play of the third quarter.
Yeah, so they had 7 points in the first half, and then they scored their touchdown in the third quarter with 13 seconds left.
Okay. So yeah,
so they
at the end.
Right at the end. So basically the 4 quarters. But yeah, with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter, that's when Toronto took a 25-7 lead. And from there, Montreal couldn't get the points they needed. Then eventually they started getting it, and they took over that victory. And it's a 12-0 fourth quarter, which for Jay, he needed, when Speaker, I think it was, dropped the 2-point conversion, his play was Montreal money line plus the under. If that 2-point happened, he would have lost. He desperately needed the 2-point to be dropped. So some good things happening for Mr. J. Milne.
Just how good are these guys that are setting the lines?
It's incredible. I would love to go behind the scenes one day and watch them do this and figure out how they figure this all out.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, 51.
Illuminati?
51.5 last night.
It's all a simulation, that they're just connected to the simulation of some sort. Honestly, I have no clue. You paying attention to second round action of the Open? I'm assuming that's a yes.
Absolutely, I am. I was very disappointed. I was just looking over, and there my guy Xander comes back with a birdie. Xander's been just kicking around even par, and that was fine yesterday when the leaders were -4. There's some big rounds out there right now. Former champion Brian Harmon went 6 under. He's at 8 under right now. Scotty Scheffler's already 5 under in his round. He's at 8 under. Hao Tong Lee's at 8. But Matthew Fitzpatrick, he was the leader yesterday. He's 6 under through 13 holes right now. And he's on a run. He has birdied. He's made the turn at, 2 under. And then has birdied 10, 11, 12, and 13. So 4 straight birdies for Fitz. He's playing the 14th right now. And which is great. I've got a piece of him, a 45-1, which was a nice number. But a couple other guys, particularly my props with Xander. Not only do I need him to make the cut, but I'd like to get him a little closer so we can the one thing I used my boost on this week was that Xander top 10. And listen, he's not too far away from it, but you got to make sure that you're there on the weekend. How about JJ Spawn? Everyone thought that he was a one and done. He's 2 under, or so he's 4 under today on his round. And he's looking at, he's popped into the top 20. Ludwig Oberg had a nice round today. He's 4 under, so he got to 2. He's in the top 20. Other big rounds today. This Norwegian guy, Christopher Reitan, was 5 under. So he's at 4 under, top 10. Rory, pretty businesslike today, -2. He sits at 3 under. Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley, 4 under for his round. So he's 3 under for the tourney. He's T13. But I guess the big question is right now, what happens with Fitzpatrick? If Fitz stays this hot and gets to 12 or 13 today, Scotty Scheffler's right there. You can just assume that he's going to probably be in double digits. You do wonder how far these guys get ahead. Depending, and listen, the weather is the great equalizer at the Open. We'll see what happens on the weekend. And if it's
skies have opened up from earlier today.
Yeah.
Earlier today it was cloudy, a mix of blue skies it was seeing. And now I've looked over and it's pouring rain down there right now, or over there right now. So it's, as long as Scotty Scheffler's in striking distance, it's hard not to see him closing that gap going into the weekend. 2 back, but he's got a few extra, those holes that Fitzpatrick birdied. Scheffler's already birdied one of them. He's on 11. I don't think he's going to birdie because I watched, he was in the fescue and it was tough getting out of that one. So he's probably looking at a par for that one. But if he can go get 12 and 13, just like Fitzpatrick did, he'd be right there tied with Fitzpatrick.
Oh, for sure. Well, and just to tell you, I don't know if Play Alberta has the live lines on the Open, but I'm looking right now, and even with Scheffler behind the lead, but just the fact that he's there,
he's leader.
he's the leader. It's basically even money to win the tournament, plus 105. And then Fitzpatrick's at plus 280. Big gap. Brian Harman at 12. And then basically 20 plus for the Haotong Lees, the Tyrrell Hattons, Rory McIlroy, Bobby Mack. So it sort of feels right now that we're going to be talking about Scottie Scheffler or Matt Fitzpatrick at the time. Certainly that's what the numbers say, but it is the Open Championship. There's just ask Jean Van de Velde. It ain't over until it's over.
It just takes that one hole. And one hole on 13 or whatever it might be, whatever 15, wherever, pick a hole. And the weather comes in and it's a factor at that moment. It's also just the time of day. You know, it could be just one of those things. You know, Fitzpatrick and Scottie Scheffler might be final pairing tomorrow. And as they're coming up on 17, some sort of storm rolls in or something. And it impacts those guys and not much of it. Like, it is what makes the Open Championship so much fun is that you just... It's just wild. And, you know, you got to bring your umbrellas. You got to bring your, bunch of gear to be fine there.
Well, and the other thing about this, and we've already seen it, you know, at Royal Portrush through the first 2 rounds. I mean, there is more so in this tournament than anything else they'll deal with. There is a real element of luck. Like, you know, there are bounces that you have to just spray and pray. And I mean, one guy will get a bounce and it'll roll onto the green, and another guy will get a bounce and it's in an unplayable position in one of the bunkers, and they're going backwards, and it costs them 2 or 3 shots. I mean, there is a level of unpredictability to this, and that's why I probably even still would not be jumping on Scottie Scheffler with where he is at, you know, such a short number.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk.
The you know, we'll see. If it comes down to head-to-head, Scottie Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick, then okay. I mean, I'd probably roll on that, especially having Fitz early on. But there is like it ain't done until it's in the hole at the Open is basically the point that I'm making, and there is an element of luck that will go into it. So a couple bad breaks could upset the apple cart for any of these players right now. But the guys that are on the course right now need to get some birdies, get themselves a little closer to those leaders up at the top, and you know, we'll see what happens.
Scheffler looks like he's going to drop a stroke. His approach long, and that was his because he was coming out of the fescue. It's going to be a tough birdie putt coming up for Scheffler, so he's probably going to drop a stroke here. Here's a golf fan question for you, because this came up on our morning show yesterday. Is the Open Championship on the bucket list to go watch as a spectator? Because, like, for me, it's the weather part of it messes with me. I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay all that money, and I'm bringing a bunch of gear. I don't know what gear I'm going to have to wear. I don't know if I want to be cold and like wet for 4 days or something.
I am with you. Like, would I love to go there? Absolutely. Would I like to do it on one of the few nice days they have? Preferably. Like, you know, sitting there for 12 hours in sideways rain and wind doesn't sound like a great way to spend the day. Although I did have a friend who went to the event, who went to the Open. I can't remember which host tournament it was, but they said they got in. They've got like some bars in and around the tournament, and said, I don't think he ever left. Like, that's just where they watched the tournament from. So it'd be very cool, though, to see it. I've never been over to Europe. So it'd be cool to do that in and around a couple of neat sporting events. And this would certainly be one of those that I think that, you know, you'd love to see. But as far as the rankings of the majors of what I'd like to see, the Masters is by far number 1. I would probably say the Open is number 2. But again, you have to realize that the pros and cons of going, like, you could pick a bad day and it could be somewhat miserable. I mean, to be the US Open and PGA are just a little more generic tournaments, like still majors. You still get all the great players. It's still a great test of golf. But the uniqueness of the Masters and the Open, I think, sort of set them up a little differently than the other two. I have been to the PGA as well, so I've ticked that one off.
Yeah, it's what, like, I guess if there's bad weather at the Open, it's you experience the Open Championship at that point.
Yes,
you know, this year there was bad weather at the US Open. I would hate and like be so upset about that. I'm at this US Open to watch some golf, not to be rained on and these rain delays and all that. At least at the Open, it's one, well, like, yeah, this is what the Open Championship's all about. But yeah, it's kind of like Masters is by itself, then the Open Championship because of where you are and the history of everything. And then if it is bad weather, well, it's part of it. And then it's U.S. Open and PGA. I do love watching the U.S. Open. I love the challenge of the U.S. Open and the players being. I like when the players are upset. I like when the players complain afterwards. I love seeing them be like, "This is awful," because I feed off of those tears because it's like we deal with that as golfers all the time. Yeah. I want you to suffer this week. I want you to have to deal with that, and they only have to deal with that the U.S. Open. But yeah, I would much rather though make the trip over to Scotland or Ireland or wherever the Open Championship's being played in any given year and golf it as opposed to watch it. If I'm gonna, I'll have no problem being at like Royal Portrush and have it completely pouring rain on me as I'm trying to golf it. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Watching it's a little different, just sitting there watching in one spot. I think I'd probably be a little like, okay, it's okay. I think it's time to go type.
The other place that I would love to go to, not a major, but I would love to go to the Players. Like the fact that they do it at Sawgrass every year. We know the course. The weather's always absolutely pristine in Florida. Get down there at that time early in the season. That would be a heck of a lot of fun. And I will tell you what, I will not be going back to the Canadian Open if it's out at Austin Village again this year. That was way too much.
I always wanted to go to the WM Phoenix Open. I know a few people that have gone. It just seems like it's gone too far with the party. And I need it. Like I have no problem with the party. I want that atmosphere, but it seems like before there's a golf event with a major party around it. Now it's a major party with golf around it. And I want it to get back to, okay, the golf still matters here. Have some fun, but like you had the rain delay 2 years ago and the guy goes swimming in the pond and stuff like that. Like a little too far. So I need that one to be brought back to go back on my list of where I want to go.
It's the biggest shit show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We were there for the Super Bowl in Arizona whenever the last time it was there.
Yeah, that was just a few years ago.
Time. Yeah. And so I'd done shows Monday through Friday. And then obviously the game was on Sunday. So we sort of had an open day on Saturday. So one of my buddies, let's go to the tourney. So we jumped in an Uber and got there on the Saturday at about 11:30 in the morning or so. And where the Uber drops you off, you got to walk probably a kilometer or whatever before you get into the gates. So we're walking and I'm looking around and I'm like, are we at an ASU keg party or are we at a PGA Tour event? Because I mean, it's all 20 somethings, like, girls, like these little dresses and stuff going on like that. Like they look like they're going out to the club, like not 11:30 in the morning. Oh, and they're also all smashed. Like, and we're not even at noon. So it was like we had got there. Obviously, I mean, we were there way too late to even have a sniff of getting onto the 16th. So we made a point of just walking around, finding a few spots because, dude, that Saturday there's like 200,000 people there. Like the Saturday of that tournament. And I mean, like, I don't mind crowds, but that was next level. So we were sort of finding places where you could watch a bit and just be away. And if you get away from the busiest areas, the people watching at that event is beyond anything you will see at the most out-of-hand bar on any given night in almost any city. I mean, it was shit show is the best word that I can use to describe it. So yeah, and they had to dial it back a little bit. But as they say, as we get a little older, maybe I'm less geared up for the Phoenix Waste Management Open or the Wasted Management Open, as many people call it. But they'll be back this summer, and it is a unique, one-of-a-kind event on tour.
And I know the Canadian Open I don't know if they did it this year. They've tried making a 16th the last few years, something with, the hockey boards and throwing those up there.
But cool. I mean, it's got a good atmosphere. But
the one thing though, but it's also why I love the Ryder Cup too, especially when it goes to Europe, is that it is party still. The Ryder Cup is also one of those party atmospheres. And like that one works. Like the Europeans, they go get drunk. They go drink while the golf goes on. They just don't go that extra distance with it. They don't go too far with it. And it's always fun. I think the Ryder Cup's back in Europe this year. Is it in the U.S.? Do you know
this is Bethpage.
Oh, so this is back in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's always, I like it a little more when it's out in Europe.
Bethpage this year.
Scotty Scheffler, the only one who secured his qualification so far. Rory McIlroy, the only one who secured his qualification so far.
Well, you know who's going to completely secure his qualification if he stays where he is right now is JJ Spawn, which is wild. I don't know what the number on his making the Ryder Cup team at the start of the year, but it would have been far away. Here's JJ, speaking of which, for birdie right now, and drops it. But Matt Fitzpatrick just missed a 4-footer. So he went 4 straight birdies and then gave one right back. So both he and Scheffler, which is great for everybody else in the mix, that can make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I'm just behind you, so I just finished the putt from JJ Spawn. MLB's back.
Yes.
The Toronto Blue Jays. Who do they got tonight? I haven't even looked.
They got the Giants, the San Francisco Giants. Actually, you don't see this series very often. Nope. And 2 teams that have both had really good starts to the season. The Giants are 52-45. Jays 55-41. And now the Giants are just 1 game under 500 on the road. Jays are a great home team this year. They've they're winning 2 for every 1 loss at home, 32-16. How about this, though? Bassett on the hill for the Jays. Nice start to the season, 9-4. Up against hard luck. And I don't know if anyone's ever referred to Justin Verlander as hard luck Justin Verlander for a guy with his money, his awards, Kate Upton. But he's 0-7 on this season. The guy, and it's not like he's got like an 8 ERA. Just hasn't been able to win. So the Jays will hope to continue that tonight as they get back on it. And I'm just looking, this is on the ESPN matchup page, but they've got the Jays in and around a -150 favorite to get going with a win out of the break.
How do you bet a lot of baseball? Because I find baseball to be a tough one to look at and go on a bet. You've got 3-game series where it's very hard to sweep. So now you're trying to figure out when is the team going to win, when's not. Do you bet a lot on baseball? And if so, how do you approach baseball betting?
I bet it around now when there's nothing else going on. And, to be honest, I'll often focus in on the Blue Jays just because we see so much more of them. And I've got a much better pulse of kind of what's happening with the Jays. I follow the Royals quite closely too, and kind of when I start fading them when they go into these long stretches of just inability to hit. But more than anything, if I'm putting together a 2 or 3 gamer, I usually go to the ESPN page, check out the pitching, go to the recent, starts of the pitchers just to see kind of who's on a bit of a heater, who's doing well, who's been very inconsistent. And then another fun thing to do is just betting things like, over 1.5 bases. Like sometimes you can just focus in on guys that are hitting really well and then, have some fun with them on that. But yeah, I don't spend a lot on it. Usually I'll often do kind of a 3-gamer on a busy night, kind of take some pictures that I like, a game that I'm going to be watching, but it would be well below hockey or football for the amount of time that I spend on it. But there's lots of cool things too that you can get on it. There's actually, whoa.
What?
Just about fell in one of the pot bunkers on a shot.
Batia?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
big fan of Akshay.
If I was ever at one of those courses, I would specifically go place my ball in the bottom of one of those bunkers, like the deep ones, to see how many shots it would take to get out. And I'd give myself like 10 opportunities. Otherwise, I'm just picking up and I'm walking out of it. Those would be just fun experiences to try. Okay, I don't know how much, if you've ever seen these movies. But I had a debate earlier this morning going on, and I'm curious in your take on this. Have you seen a lot of the mobster movies, Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, all those?
No, I've seen a couple of them. But I would not be an authority on pretty much anything movies outside of, I was always a fan of the stoner comedies. Like I've seen Harold and Kumar, Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, Where's My Car? I haven't watched that in years.
Beer Fest, another favorite of mine. But not many not too many of the recent movies or the mob ones. But that mob genre seems to be very popular now. And I mean, I don't know whether it's post Sopranos where people are looking at trying to capture that, but I mean, it's interesting stuff too. Great characters and all that. I mean, I get why it makes for good movies.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. I actually feel like a little bit the old school style of it, the genre's over. There was a movie that Scorsese did a few years ago with Pesci, De Niro, and Pacino, The Irishman, that came out on Netflix. The way that ended, to me, it was like a wrap up of those movies. But we're just having the conversation of whether it'd be Goodfellas or Godfather, which one is better. And Will Fraser was like, Godfather is overrated and stuff, and Goodfellas is number one, and Godfather is like one of the greatest movies of all time. And then Jay agreed with him, so I was just curious if you had a take on that, but if you hadn't seen them.
Yeah, I have insufficient data for this. I'll take this question though from Matt Hyman in the chat. Are you having the red zone sandwich tonight? Have you seen this?
Nope.
So the Bombers, now is this on their? It might be on their Twitter feed. Let's just pop this up.
So it seems like they do something for the around the opponent, because when the Elks came to town, there's like a bison burger or an elk burger or something.
Elk burger, yeah, they did do an elk burger that you could get. So today, and this comes from, shout out to Zach Caleros. Caleros was on a podcast, the Bombers podcast, and they were talking about the greatest athletes in the world. And Zach, with a straight face, said, "Well, what about Joey Chestnut?" And Darren Cameron and Ed Tate could not. It was almost like they were listening to WST or something when I'm making my case for Joey Chestnut. But they got into competitive eating. Long story short, they're dropping down the beef brisket red zone sandwich tonight. It is a 4-footer loaded with brisket, I think peppers, chopped onions. It's Remus and I tag teamed the Yard Dog last year, which was a 3.5-foot hot dog with a million things on it. I will say this actually looks like the best one of the massive food items that they've done. Like, this is something I could actually totally get into. Now, with a couple guys, I mean, there's no way you're gonna.
Well, so $70 for this.
Yeah, and it is massive. Like, it's basically 4 feet long.
Yeah, so it's got. I just had it up. It says it gets you the brisket. It's got crispy peppers, pickled fries, smoky barbecue sauce, served with mac and cheese on the side, because naturally you just have to have an extra side to something like that.
Oh, yeah.
3 feet. I wonder how many pounds that is. I think I could finish that. I do believe I would be able to finish that.
What?
Yeah. I did a 40-ounce steak night. Did my 40, did my sides, ate half of Dusty steak and his sides. My other claim to fame that I put is I ate an entire lunch. I brought a lunch to work once, ate it all, and then Dusty, myself, and a buddy Lucas were there. They all of a sudden they're like, we should go to Wendy's. And I went to Wendy's and had a triple Baconator combo.
Oh, the triple Baconator.
Just after I finished my meal. Like, I had just eaten. I was like, sure, let's go. And I had a triple Baconator combo. So
you got that good metabolism. Well, you can still say sometimes.
Gonna start catching up to me now, I think.
Eaters are the lean dudes.
So that's where it's like I look at that. Like, I'll finish food and be like, I feel like I'll say I'm full, but I could, like, if you put food in front of me, I'll just keep eating it. I do think I'd come very close to finishing.
I would have bought it. I would have bought it if you could have eaten it. That would have been. We'll make that happen sometime if we can get you guys out here. We'll do some sort of an eating challenge with Iwanic in the peg.
I'll EST versus WST. I'll take you and Remus versus me and someone else.
You will hit.
Huss. Just a few minutes left here. What do you got coming up on WST? I'll have to just promote some things here out on the back end, but what do you got coming up on WST?
Well, I mean, obviously we're going to be all over this game tonight. My partner from Tuesdays in CFL 110, Jeff Hamilton's going to come on. We'll talk a little bit about last night's game and really dive into it tonight. Brandon Rowicki from Skates and Plates will be jumping on. We'll get his thoughts on the Morgan Barron deal and a few of the hockey off-season topics. And none other than Gary Lawless is coming on. And Lawman is here. He'll be at the game tonight. We'll get into a little Bomber and some NHL talk. But I have to ask him, and folks, I mean, this is maybe a Lock Shop exclusive. I haven't mentioned this on the show, but I will be asking Gary if he has any new friends, because I got a message from somebody, a stringer, a source, if you will, that was in Tahoe last weekend, where the American Century golf tournament is with all the celebrities. And there is a Gary Lawless sighting as a member of none other than Sir Charles Barkley's entourage.
What?
And so we're going to get him to confirm or deny these reports, because I do think he was in the area. The VGK had some things that were going on, and I would not put it past Lawless to somehow end up in the circle of Sir Charles. So that is coming up today. I think Hacksaw is going to jump on. We'll do marbles, but lots of Bomber Stamps talk, and we will get to the bottom of, is Gary Lawless now BFFs with Sir Charles Barkley?
As Matt Hyman says, that's random, LOL. And it is, but I want to know the answer to this. I will be fascinated by this. Huss, enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the weekend. You and Dusty on Monday. I'll talk with you later next week on The Lock Shop.
Have a great one, Matt. Thanks so much, and enjoy the Open, everybody.
That's Huss, WST. Go check it out. We got to find out, was Gary Lawless in Charles Barkley's entourage? WST, about 7 minutes time on their YouTube channel, him and Remus. Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta. I have thrown my parlay towards them. They haven't commented on yet. I'm trying to get the Lock Shop parlay being Nick Dembski anytime touchdown, AJ Ouellette 80+ rushing yards, Bo Levi Mitchell 2+ passing TDs. That I will just look at EST specials. The Grandes parlay and the Silly Goose, those have been sent to me. I will pass those off to Play Alberta to get those up as well a little bit later. Promo codes again, EST Sports, deposit 20, get 50 free sports bet, YEG 50, deposit 5, and get a $50 free sports bet as well. That's all up at Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. I want to remind everyone as well, Labor Day, we are wanting to fill out a couple of buses to go down to Calgary, McMahon Stadium, coach, ride to and from, stop in Red Deer. We'll have pizza on the way back, a couple of beverages from Canadian Club, a chance to get to the Stamps tailgate and sit together with a bunch of Elks fans, including some ESTers on Labor Day. Go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com, click on Labor Day Bus. It'll take you to the Edmonton Elks page. It's $150 plus GST, although if you use promo code EST Labor Day, it's $125 plus GST. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Lock Shop here on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta. We've got the Oil Stream up next. We've got EST Afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We got Riverhawks Baseball coming up later tonight as well here on Edmonton Sports Talk. On behalf of us, I am Matt. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk with you on Monday.